Good morning, everybody. It's Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's video, we're going to be going over these two enhanced risks for severe weather. And we even got a storm system that's going to be moving through today and through tomorrow morning and into the weekend, which will be impacting the South, the Ohio Valley, pretty much the entire eastern United States, by the way. So we're going to really have to watch this storm system very closely. But first of all, as you guys can see, for day one, which is today, which will be from Thursday into Friday, we actually did see an upgrade to an enhanced risk for severe weather across portions of northwest Louisiana heading into southwest Arkansas, and then northeast Texas, and then back through a little bit of southeast Oklahoma. So if you guys do live in this enhanced risk, I would definitely watch very closely. This does include the populated city Shreveport, almost includes Little Rock. We could see an extend into Little Rock, that is possible, but I think how it is might be how it's gonna be all day. So yeah, make sure to keep that in mind. And then with the tornado threat, we actually do have a hatch risk issued with that, which means we could see EF2 tornadoes or greater. I mean, it's very small, so we could see just several tornadoes occur in one area, which will probably be very historic, I guess, but we'll see about that. And then the wind threat, we do have a 30% chance for damaging winds. And then for your hail threat, no 30%. However, we do have a hatch risk, which means 2 inches in diameter or greater hail could be possible across this area. So even though we don't have a 30% chance, we still got a chance for large hail or very large hail. So either one is definitely possible with this hatch risk being issued. And now we're going to go ahead and look at day 2. Day 2 seems to be one of our bigger days, and as you guys see, we actually do have an enhanced risk for severe weather heading from southern North Carolina back through portions of South Carolina into Georgia and then into Alabama. And we do have that slight risk around that could definitely also bring some strong tornadoes too as well. So we'll have to watch for strong tornadoes in both the slight risk and the enhanced risk, while your tornado threat is significant. Okay, we do have a very big 10% chance for tornadoes, and you do have a hatch risk issued with that, which means we can't rule out some EF2 tornadoes or greater. Those are strong tornadoes, okay? And like I said, I feel like we should also watch the 5% for some strong tornadoes, because if we had a storm right there, let's just say south of Charlotte in this 10%, and then it headed into Raleigh, it could still be producing a strong tornado. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just giving an example of what could happen and how we could see a strong tornado in this 5%. So if you do live in this 5% or this 10%, I would definitely be on high alert and make sure you have your tornado action plan in place. For your wind threat, your wind threat is significant too. You actually do have a hatch risk heading as far north as Raleigh, but even back into portions of Georgia, South Carolina, and then even a little bit of Alabama in the 30%. So we'll have to really watch very closely. And if you guys are wondering what this hatch risk means, this means hurricane force winds are possible. That's 75 miles per hour. So we're gonna really have to watch these areas closely. And then your hail threat, we actually do have a decent hail threat too as well. So we'll also have to watch for some large hail too. And now, as you guys can see, no more severe weather threats, which is good news, because at least we might not have to deal with severe weather threats anymore as we head past tomorrow. So thank goodness we don't have a severe weather threat as of right now on day 3, but we'll see if one does get issued. and some of those lingering storms could linger into day 3. And now, if we take a look at your guys' excessive rainfall outlook for today, we do have a marginal risk for flash flooding heading from northeast Texas and all the way up into southwest Indiana. So we're really going to have to watch for some pretty good flash flooding. Some of the models like the GFS and even the CMC model were showing about 3 inches of rain occurring in portions of Indiana, especially at and north of Evansville. So we could see flash flooding there too as well, but the European model, which is also known as the accurate model, is showing more in the way of rainfall in the southern part of this marginal risk. So we'll have to really watch this very closely. So if you do live in this marginal risk for today, we will definitely have to pay attention, as you see, Thursday into Friday, which is today. And now we're going to look at your guys' excessive rainfall outlook for day 2, and as you guys see, we do have a slight risk for flash flooding across portions of New England, guys. We saw a lot of flash flooding in this area. I think this was the other day. I kind of forgot, but this was when we last had that moderate risk across this area. We don't have it today, but that was about a day or 2 ago when we had that moderate risk. Some of that flash flooding is still lingering through today in parts of New England, and so the slight risk could mean rain will be added on to those flash flood area, which could even bring the water levels a lot higher. So we'll have to watch for more in the way of significant flooding across this area. So yeah, and then we even got that marginal risk across portions of Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, western Kentucky, western Tennessee, and then back to portions of Arkansas and Missouri. So we'll have to watch for some pretty good rainfall as we also head into tomorrow across this area. And now we're going to take a look at your guys' wind gusts. We're going to first start off with the European model, and we're going to see what it shows. We're going to zoom out so you guys can kind of see how these wind gusts are looking like throughout the country or the United States. And as you guys can see, we're going to press the play button, and we're going to show you guys how these wind gusts are playing out. And as you see, we start to see some 30s across some of these areas. As you see, we start to see a pretty big area of wind move through the Ohio Valley and heading into the Tennessee valleys, and wow, look at all those wind gusts moving in. And then those will finally head into New England, which will also bring some significant wind gusts, and then that will continue heading out pretty quick. It sounds like those wind gusts do linger for quite a while. We also could see a little bit in the way of windy conditions across some of these areas like New England and stuff like that. So we'll have to really watch closely for significant wind gusts. And as you guys can probably see, you guys might have saw some pretty good wind gusts throughout the throughout Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And if you guys are wondering when these wind gusts were occurring, you actually got your day chart down here. So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, those black lines right there, as you guys can probably see, those indicate the end of each day. So if you guys were wondering when those occur, you guys can fast back and you guys can see which days had those good wind gusts. So yeah. And now if we take a look at your guys' travel impacts, as you guys can see, day 1 through 3, which is going to be from today into Saturday, we actually do have some pretty good impacts across portions of the Great Lakes region. So that does include portions of Michigan heading into Wisconsin and even northeast Illinois. We do have a few major impacts across portions of Iowa too as well. So we'll have to really watch that closely. Looks like the Salt Lake City area seeing a ton of snowfall. It could see probably around a foot of snowfall or so in some areas, and that's why we do have that extreme impacts there too as well. So if you guys do live in Salt Lake City, there will be some areas that will see buried snowfall. So if you guys do live in that area, I would definitely take this serious with extreme caution. And then even back to portions of Oregon, pretty much just east of Portland, we actually do have an area of major impacts and even extreme impacts too as well. So we'll have to pay attention to that. And then even these orange color, which are moderate impacts, that goes for almost the entire Great Lakes region, and then back to portions of the Ohio Valley. I am kind of surprised to see these minor impacts move through portions of the southern part of Indiana. I mean, snow wasn't really expected to be accumulation. At least we weren't expecting to see much accumulation down here into parts of Indiana, so I wouldn't assume to bring these minor impacts so far down south, but we'll have to still watch closely, guys. We could get lucky and see snowfall across that area. And now we're going to go ahead and look at the European model with the radar. And as you guys see, we'll see this first system moving through, which is going to bring the high wind gusts, the heavy rainfall, and even the severe weather. And as that finally heads out, we kind of see another system move through. And the GFS model first shows it missing the Ohio Valley. And then we could see kind of another one move through, which might bring a little bit more in the way of snowfall. And when I said with the GFS model, I meant to say the European model, because that's the model I'm using. But we'll go over the GFS model in just a second. But as you guys can see, that that system that we were just going over will finally head out. And like I said, this one could even move across the Ohio Valley and even the Great Lakes region, which will bring some mixed precipitation and light snow. And then that continues strengthening as it heads into New England, and then we're getting to the point where it's kind of uncertain, but we'll still have to watch very closely. And now, if we look at your guys' precipitation, as you guys can see, pretty big area of at least 1 to 3 inches, at least across this area right here, could see around 1 to 3 inches. So this will be your flash flooding area for at least today and tomorrow. And like I said, the GFS and the CMC model were indicating more in the way of rainfall, and that was mainly across this area right here. That was showing more in the way of rainfall. So I mean, there's a 50-50 chance we see up to 3 inches farther north, at least in the northeast part of that marginal risk on day 1 and day 2, which is today and even tomorrow. And then back through parts of New England, we actually do see a small area of 1 to 3 inches, and then even back through much of Florida, we actually kind of do see a pretty big area of at least 1 to 3 inches too as well. Some areas could even see higher, so we'll have to pay attention to that. And now, if we look at your guys' total snowfall, and I did forget to say when this was in effect, this goes all the way till January 17th, so that's when it's in effect. And now, if we look at your guys' total snowfall, which also goes till January 17th, we actually do have a pretty big area of snowfall, by the way, and as you guys can see, pretty big area of snowfall. I'm going to go ahead and mark this off again. And as you guys can see, at least 1 to 3 inches is what we expect for this entire area right here. So we'll have to really watch closely. We're going to go ahead and erase that. And as you guys can see, actually about 1 to 3 inches. Look at Arkansas. Maybe even a half a foot in some areas. That could cause up to major impacts across that area. And even back to parts of Michigan, we actually do see quite a bit of snowfall too as well. Just look at that, guys. Wow, lots of snowfall for Michigan. And then even back to parts of the Rocky Mountains, which mainly includes this area right here, we actually do see quite a bit of snowfall, by the way. So yeah, pretty big area, and I kind of drew something kind of cool, I guess, but yeah, and then we're going to go ahead and look at your guys' radar with the GFS model, and we're going to take this back, and as you guys see, with this first system moving through, we see some pretty good showers and storms across places like Indiana, heading into southern Illinois, and then back through the Mississippi Valley, heading into portions of Dixie Alley, and as you see, those storms continue to move across, and we could even see some snow on the back side of that system. As you guys can can see, the GFS model shows a small storm moving across the Ohio Valley, and then even some more snow on the backside of that system. And that will be another snowstorm to watch very closely. As you see, it starts off with light snow across the lower Ohio Valley, and then even more in the way of snow across the entire Ohio Valley. And so we'll have to pay attention to that. And then as we continue to take that far, we'll see another storm potentially moving through, which will be this one right here. And as you guys can see, this one brings very heavy snow, freezing rain, and even a ton of storms, too as well. And if we look at when that's occurring, as you guys can see, we're pretty much at the very end of it, so there's a lot of uncertainty, but we'll have to watch for some more major storms as we head into the end of January, okay? So we could see some more in the way of storms as we head until January, February, March, so those months could definitely see more in the way of major storms like that, but we will definitely did a break in between, so we'll have to keep that in mind too as well. And now we're going to go ahead and look at your guys' total rainfall with the GFS model, and as you guys can see, pretty big area of at least 1 to 3 inches across this area. And like I was saying, when we were looking at the total precipitation with the European model, the GFS was showing more in the way of rainfall up here, so we're gonna have to really pay attention to that area too as well. So don't just focus down here in the southeast, or I mean the southwest part of this marginal risk. Also focus in the central and as well as the northern part of this site, or this marginal risk. I keep messing up, but this pretty much includes the entire marginal risk, okay? So we could see some pretty good rainfall there, and there. So those are the areas we're going to have to watch very closely, and it sounds like we could even see some pretty good rainfall across portions of New England too as well. And now, with your total snowfall, this also heads till January 17th, by the way, but with your total snowfall, GFS model shows it being a little bit more active across New England and as well as the lower Ohio Valley. As you guys can see, pretty big area of at least 1 to 5 inches of snowfall. Some areas probably seeing over a half a foot. So we're gonna have to watch this next storm system very closely, and I mean, it will likely drop a ton of snowfall. Look at Kentucky and even the Bowling Green area and the Lexington area. You guys could see as high as 8 inches of snow in some areas, guys. That's gonna be pretty crazy right there. And then even across portions of Indiana, at least the northern part and the southern part, seeing about 4 inches of rain, or I mean snow, but still could also see some rain too as well. So at least 4 inches of snow in the southern part of Indiana, and then back up here to the north, we actually kind of do see some pretty good snowfall there too as well. So we'll have to watch that very closely. But thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. We'll keep you guys updated with the 2 enhanced risks. Those are going to be the things we keep our eyes on the most. But thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll do one tomorrow.